Sunflower Life, and I just thought, since we're all stuck in our house, this would be a great time to test out all those recipes that we've been dying to try. And this is actually one that I've had on my stack. I have quite a stack, you know, those printouts that you do when you see a good recipe on the computer, right? Anyway, this is one that I wanted to test out, so welcome to my kitchen. Guess we can call it a test kitchen. And it's going to be truly a test kitchen because I've never made this before. So you and I are going to explore this one together. So this one is based on a WW, formerly known as Weight Watchers, recipe that I found. As you know, as of right now, I'm almost 80 pounds down in a year. So WW has been great for me, but I think this would be a recipe that people that aren't watching their calories would enjoy as well. So let's give it a try and see what happens. The original recipe is called Cherry Spice Oatmeal Breakfast Bread. And as good as that sounds, the primary ingredient is this. It's WW's Instant Apple Cinnamon Oatmeal. And so I thought, well, why would you use the cherry when you could up the apple? And that's what I plan to do. I'm basing this recipe on one that I make. It's a soda bread out of this book, the Apple Lovers Cookbook. And this is on the Sunflower Life's blog. And if you look down below, I'll have a link to this recipe and a link to the one that's in here. But anyway, I thought I'd take the flavors out of this recipe of this apple soda bread and put it in this instead. Of course, it also means that I'm adding raisins instead of the cherries, which ups the point value for you WWs out there. The original recipe is, I'm on purple, I'm team purple. So the original recipe for me is just 3 points for a whole mini loaf. But by taking out the cherries and adding raisins, it makes it 5 points on purple. So you do you. You could skip the raisins and just add the extra apple, and then it would still stay 3 points. So totally do what feels best for you, okay? Anyway, let's get this show on the road. Right now, let's see. I'm going to preheat. I'm going to make it in my new fancy dancy air fryer toaster oven, but I'm going to use it on the oven setting. So we're going to get it started preheating to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's see. And then the first thing you do is you open up 2 containers of these WW oatmeal. Now, I know that you can get apple cinnamon oatmeal in other brands. I'm thinking they may work too, but I'm using the WW because I have it and I like it and I like to do stuff with it, so we'll test it out. So it takes 2 of these. So put them in a bowl. And then the recipe says to whisk 1/3 of a cup of self-rising flour. Okay, make sure you use self-rising flour and not just all-purpose flour. Self-rising flour has a leavening agent in it, and so if you use the other, it won't rise, or at least it won't rise as much. So, and those of you on WW making the 2-ingredient bread dough, you probably have this. So you're supposed to sift it over the top. And then now I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to put, this is 1/4 cup of milk, low-fat milk, and an egg. And you whisk this together. Grab a paper towel. As you can tell, I may be a food writer, but this is new ground for me, so please be kind. Anyway, so we'll whisk up the egg in the non-fat milk. Get it good and mixed up. All right, and we'll set that aside. Now, I need to chop up and peel my apple. Let me grab, I've got a chopping knife, but I don't have a peeling one. So this is my quick way to do an apple. I like to just cut it into quarters. And then I'll take And I don't use a peeler, I just use a regular knife, and I just cut it, just peel it down. Yeah, I know this is just real thrilling to watch, isn't it? But that's okay. But I thought, you know, if it's gonna have apple cinnamon oatmeal, why not make it really apple-y? And I mean, I know a lot of people think of apples in the fall, but you know, we eat them all year round, so why not enjoy them? And especially with those of us that are stuck in our homes, how many of you are under stay-at-home orders? Here in my county in Kansas, we are until April 26th. So even though I'm a freelance writer and I work from home normally anyway, it's still kind of weird because I do go out and interview people, and I do go out and test out, you know, try to scope out new things, new places to eat, I write about education a lot, so I interview a lot of teachers, and it's just kind of a weird time for all of us, isn't it? Okay, I'm just gonna chop this up, and it doesn't have to be fancy because, here, let's see. Put that aside so maybe you can see it better. I don't know. But I don't think it doesn't have to be anything fancy dancy. Just chop it up fairly small pieces, I think, so that they get nice and cooked in the mix. Let's see. There we go. But I mean, this is a great time. I mean, we can't get out a lot, so it's a great time to try out new recipes and try out new things to eat. Or if you're just not much into cooking, I think most restaurants are doing deliveries and stuff, and especially those local places, feel free to, you know, get some takeout from them or order a gift card to use once they open back up and you can actually sit in the restaurant if you want, because I know that those guys are hurting pretty good and they're trying to survive. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are many chain restaurants that I like. Sometimes I actually crave a quarter pounder with cheese or things like that. You know, Wendy's chili is pretty good. But, you know, if you can help out your local guys too, most of them are, you know, will deliver to you on like DoorDash and all of that. So, you know, try and give them a try and see and help them out some. So, okay, that may be too much apple. So I may only use about half of it. I'm gonna wait and see how this all comes together. So I'm gonna put this aside right now. Okay, we'll go back to this. Let's see, so I've got the oatmeal and everything in here. The oatmeal and 1/3 of a cup of self-rising flour is in here. Now we'll mix in this. This a 1/4 cup of fat-free milk and 1 egg. We'll get this mixed together. Okay, now I'm putting in 1/4 of a cup of raisins, and I think I may only put in, it says a one cup of cherries, but I think with the raisins I may only put in a 1/2 cup of the chopped apples. And then probably the most unique ingredient is caraway seeds. I am putting in a 1/2 teaspoon of caraway seeds. I like that flavor. You are more than welcome to leave it out if that's the case. Mix these up together. Okay, now here's my quandary with this now that I have it all mixed up. The recipe says that it makes 4 mini loaves. Well, these are the mini loaf pans that I found, that I have. I'm thinking that this is bigger than the mini loaves that they have in mind. See, you're supposed to be able to eat a whole mini loaf for 5 smart points. I think that I'm going to just make, instead of doing 4 mini loaves, I think I'm just going to do 2. And then it would be half the loaf for 5 smart points, a whole loaf for 10. Because evidently my mini loaf pans and I think their mini loaf pans are not the same size. Because these seem, this amount of dough doesn't seem enough for this size of a pan. So anyway, let's put this in here and try and divide it up the best I can between the two so that they're nice and even. There we go. And truthfully, I was thinking that one whole mini pan of this would be very filling, so in some ways I'm kind of glad that maybe it's this size and it's only half the pan. So we'll try it out and see. Let's see here. Get it all spread out. Yeah, that looks pretty even. Pretty good. All right. Now, we will put this in the oven. It's supposed to bake for 20 to 25 minutes until it comes out clean. Since I'm baking it in bigger, we'll have to see, that time may change and I'll let you know. But I'll pop this in the oven back here and we'll see what happens. All right. I will see you in about 20 minutes. Okay, let's take this out and see what we got. Okay, first thing you're going to notice is that it's pretty brown, but that's my thing because this new air fryer toaster oven has an oven setting, but everyone has told me that it bakes a little on the hot side. So I did turn the temperature down partway through because it seemed to be getting a little brown too fast. My only other thought is it seems to be not as high up in the pan. It didn't rise as much as I expected, but that could be that my self-rising bread is a little old. Self-rising flour was a little old, and if that's the case, the leavening agent in it will not work as well. So let's take this out and see what we get here. It sure smells good. It really smells really good. Let me see. I'm gonna hold it up so you can see. But see what I mean by it's a little on the short side? But like I said, that could be that I need new self-rising flour. So half of this should be 5 points. So let me cut this in half. Ooh, hey, that looks pretty good inside. Take a look. Doesn't that look good? Smells good. It tastes pretty good too. Now the recipe says to dust it the top with powdered sugar, which you could do. Also, if you have the points, I could see putting a little bit of butter on this so it's nice and warm. Let me give it a try. It's hot, but I don't know about you, but when you take things out of the oven, do you try them when they're still too hot? Baked goods especially. Oh, brownies. I was worse with brownies. I can't bake brownies in the house because if I bake brownies, I want to eat the whole pan. And so this is definitely it. But let's see what we get. Okay. It may be a little brown. It may not have risen as much as I thought, but it tastes pretty darn good. It's not very sweet, so if you're expecting a sweet bread, you're going to be disappointed. Sorry, because it's not very sweet, but you know, you dust the powdered sugar on top once it cools down a little bit, and it'll have that little bit of sweetness to it. But truthfully, I like these kind of breads not too sweet because I like to eat them for breakfast and that kind of thing, but this is good. This is really good. Okay. Sorry, eating with my mouth full. I'm gonna try, I think this worked great. If I were, when I do it again, one, use new self-rising flour, make sure that that's not the problem. Maybe it's supposed to be this way. I don't know, first time I've ever done it. The taste is really good. I really like it. And especially during these times when we might need a little comfort, this is comfort food. So, and 5 points for half of this would be perfect. Have half of this, maybe with an egg on the side, a little yogurt on the side, something along those lines. Or you could just have this as a snack with your cup of coffee, with a cup of tea in the afternoon. This is really good. I'm gonna do this again. I will be making this again, and I will probably make it later another time with the cherries. Maybe put a little almond flavoring in it because I like almond and cherry flavor together. So, but with the apple and the caraway seed and the raisins especially, this is, and the raisins give a little sweetness to this, as does the apple. This is very, very good. Give it a try. I think you'll really like it. I know I do. Now I'm gonna finish this other half, so. Thanks for joining in. I'm Linda with The Sunflower Life. Look down, you'll see a link to my blog with this recipe that I've done, the link to the original recipe, and the link to the apple soda bread that I was talking about earlier. So take care. Thanks.